Shush! That did it. Welcome everybody to my first Instagram live. It's making a lot of noise, this thing. Hang on. There you go. Lovely. Now, obviously, we are loving the Star Wars at the moment, which is where I'm going to start. We're going to use this this little Insta live as a way to sort of sum up the past, well, the last year or so, and to also look to next year. Now, everybody, yes, I am in the film. Princes may have been cut out, but I am in it. Oh, yes, I am. However, I'm quite hard to spot. Okay, it's literally like a millisecond, right? And I'm gone. Okay, so you got to really, when the DVD comes out or it goes online, you're going to be able to see me a lot easier. But I had a fabulous day down shooting at Star Wars. I was only an extra. I was an ex. Hello, this guy here. I got him because I wanted just to celebrate the moment that I played him. So I put the uniform on, and a guy come over called Chewbacca, and he said, you know, if you go back to your trailer, there's a guy called Luke Skywalker who'll be FaceTiming you. So I said, surely. Anyway, he said apparently he was. So I went back to my trailer, and I had about 10 minutes on FaceTime with Mark Hamill, who was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, he really didn't want to be FaceTiming with me, I'm sure of it, but he's such a good actor, he made it seem like he wanted to be FaceTiming with me. He was so lovely. And I was 7 when I first saw that, and always loved him. And then a few weeks later, now I don't know if you can see this, but he sent me this, and it says on it, from one X-Wing pilot to another, I hope it's your greatest day of your life, Mark Hamill. Amazing. And he was just fabulous. So I wanted to share that with you. Big moment. I've really, really enjoyed that day. So when it comes out and you can have a proper look where they let you film it, you'll spot us. We're in the trenches on like a fight scene. I'll put it more online. I'll put the clip and stuff online when we know about it. So anyway, let's review this year. It's been a really busy year, as you all know, because you're all part of everything I do. We kicked off the year with Let It Shine TV. TV's really difficult. I've found of all the things I've been involved with, TV's the hardest. And the reason it's the hardest is because I think as soon as you say Saturday night, all the knives are out. Everybody wants to just kill you for anything you do or say or any action. It's a really, really tough thing to do, be on telly. The people who've done it for 12 years or whatever it is, respect them, because it's really hard. It's almost a thankless task in a way. But, I have to say that the goal of being on TV was not just for the sake of being on TV. It was, we were there doing a job. We hoped to find a band for our musical, which at that point was still being written. So I know that everyone who watched the show, I have to thank you for your patience and the fact that you led us. I mean, it was, out of all these sort of shows that are on TV, it was such an ambitious thing to do. We were still writing the script. The idea of putting a group together and letting an audience pick who didn't even know what the show was about at that point, it just felt like an impossible task. And I think that all the stars aligned for us. Somebody very kind was looking down on us because they gave us 5 to 5 who were absolutely not only a fabulous group, but we could tell from the makeup and being around them that they were absolutely a joy to be with, and actually now it's on the road and it's touring. They kind of lead the company. They're so professional and responsible, and they take their jobs so seriously, and we're just tremendously proud of them. And I'll come back to the show a bit later on, because if I do this year chronologically, we'll get to the show. So yeah, we left BBC One in a good place, and I did enjoy the series, and I was also glad to come off TV and get straight back to take that business, really. And we'd been making this album. I don't know if we ever said this, but the album was meant to be before Christmas, and we were just struggling over the last couple of songs, just deciding things, and we just thought, oh, let's put it back. It's too much of a headache. We wanted to get it right for ourselves and for you, and anyway, that followed in, I think, the March. We had Giants out, we had the album out. We were really thrilled with how people responded to it, and of course, not so long after the record coming out, we went on tour, and the tour was, for anyone who was there, I think you'll agree, it was a magical time. I think for us as a three-piece, we only became comfortable with being a three-piece when we toured the Three tour. I think for the first time, being a three, we actually believed in ourselves on the Three tour. So being back out again as a three, almost cementing what we wanted to, the message and the fact that we're here now as a three, that it felt really good. And the tour was such a joy. I mean, actually, this year for touring has been, I think, my favourite ever. I'm getting more out of live shows than I ever got out of them in the past for some reason. But yeah, we loved that tour, absolutely loved it. And then at the same time that all this going on, we launched Calendar Girls on the West End. And I know a lot of you know that story, but basically Tim and I, and Tim's an old school friend of mine, I met him when I was 15. We started that about the end of 2012. So that was 5 years sort of in the workings. And so to finally see it come to the West End was a treat, a real treat. We had two big nights. We had an opening night, and we had like a gala night, and it was just a fabulous few days. And we went to see that show many times while it was on in the West End, and the audiences were just amazing. They responded to it. They were touched and moved by it. As I always was, every time I saw it, it always got me. A different line would get me each time. And I think for Tim and me, that was not only exciting because it was exciting because it was the kind of start of our partnership, and we already knew that Tim was going to write the band for us. He was in full flow even while we were launching Calendar Girls, but he has obviously done an incredible job on that for us as well, and he's a real member of the family for us. He's a fabulous man. And so summer came, and we had a little break, and then we come straight back after the summer's launch. The band in Manchester, absolutely incredible. We thought we knew how audiences were going to respond to this storyline, because it's a brand new story for anyone who's seen it, and the audiences have been absolutely unbelievable. I can't tell you how happy our cast and our touring crew are, because it's a really difficult, the night you see them in wherever you go to, Bradford or Llandudno or wherever, you see them for one night, and they're doing that show sometimes 9 times a week, sometimes 8 times a week, but never less than 8 times a week. And they're doing it till, I believe, March of 2019. So it's an amazing job they do, and the art form of going out there every night and making it feel brand new and like the first time they've ever done it is absolutely tremendous. And we can't, whenever we turn up to the shows, we can't thank everybody enough. They do a sterling, tremendous job of representing all our past, really. That story is so intertwined with all our pasts, and they do a brilliant job of it, and so does our crew on the road, and so long may that continue. We have got a little surprise early in the new year for that project. So I'm not going to reveal that tonight, but that's just something to look out for very early. And then, of course, we went off and we went to Australia. We hadn't toured there for 22 years, which I'm embarrassed to say, because it was so wonderful being back there. And the audiences were just, it was like we'd been there 2 years ago. They knew all the songs, and it was, we were worried we were going to be playing to empty rooms. It was the absolute opposite. The audiences were phenomenal. And so we left a place that we hadn't toured from 22 years to a place we'd never, ever toured before. And I'd only been there once as a solo artist, I think in 98, New Zealand. And I think it took everyone by surprise, really. I think everyone sort of thought it was going to be like just a smaller Australia, and it was mind-blowing. What we saw in the few days we were there was absolute. In fact, I have already informed everyone here we're going to go back on holiday. I just found it incredible, a really incredible part of the world, and the reason it's so far away is why it's so special, I think. But we felt very lucky to go and tour there. It was absolutely brilliant. And then from there, we did our big flight, and we played for the very first time in Tel Aviv, which was absolutely sensational. Funny, we had a day off before the show, and I never do the tourist thing. And I went off and floated in the Dead Sea and went to Jerusalem and went into Bethlehem, and it was just, I'm still telling people about it. It was incredible. For anyone looking for a fascinating and interesting break, I mean, it's so close to the UK, you could do it in a long weekend. It is a wonderful, wonderful place. You feel like you're walking, millions of years ago. It's truly, it's touching. And I'm not really a religious person, but it brought up lots of emotions. Wailing War was incredible. I did my little prayer and put it in the wall. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I guess it means different things to everyone, but it touched me, and I loved it. I really loved it. And so that took us then to Dubai, which is our last show of the last show of the year, and that was it. That was TT signing off 2017. We did have, and I will tease this, we did have a very big sort of band meeting last week, because we're taking quite a big break now. I'm obviously, we'll talk about this, but I'm obviously going to hit the road a bit until next summer. So there's lots of other sort of solo project going on early in next year. But we sat and sort of planned as a band the following year, the tour for the following year, and just be ready, everybody, because I do read social media a lot. I try and keep in tune with what everybody's wanting and what everybody's saying. And internationally, I'm pleased to say, there's not many places we're going to be leaving out in 2019. So I'll be surprised if you're on tweeting or on Instagram that if you're on here, I'm pretty certain we're going to be coming to see you. And that includes USA. I'm not going to give too much away on this because there's going to be a big announcement after next summer, but we will basically be doing a very big world tour in 2019, and we're very excited. I mean, I think, that we all sort of looked at each other at the end of the meeting and we were like, yeah, we're ready for this. We're ready to take this challenge on. So we're really, really excited for that. So let's launch into next year. I've already started putting a set list together. The next big thing for me, obviously, is the tour. I'm so thrilled, and I feel... Let me just have a little sip of my kombucha. Does anybody like this? I'm actually getting a real taste for it. But I've also got a cup of tea here. So let's go into next year. Thank you all for coming to see me. It was a bit of a situation where we couldn't put enough dates on. Every time we put another date on, you guys bought all the tickets. Thank you so much. It's still frightening, that is, because you know when you announce those tours, it's not about streams or getting audience figures from TV shows, or you clearly see where your audience is, if they're there or if they're not there as much as last time, or there's slightly less, and it's hard fact, and I know how to read those figures, and I've just been blown away. I'm so happy. I can't believe that you're all still there. I am, however, going to put on a really... I've got some great bits and pieces, because we're in theatres, and this was part of my thinking, really, is that, you know, we give you a hard time, our audience. You know, we either make you stand in fields or get rained on in stadiums, or, you know, we stick you in those dusty arenas that, you know, they're a spectacle, but they're not really that nice to be in. And so we strategically pick really, really beautiful theatres that are going to be a pleasure to play. You know, you're going to have a nice seat to sit in, and we're all going to be close. And so I've designed a really lovely set list. We've got a big band. We've got a 10/11, I think a 10-piece band, so quite a big brass section. We've got a couple of singers with us. We've got a really funky band. As well as the old favourites who you know. Less of the old, I can hear them saying. But it's going to be a really nice, different sort of show. For anyone who knows, when I do theatres, you know, we don't really have much production. We have really, really nice lights. It's just the show. It's the piano, it's the band, and it's me and you, and that's it. And that's what's kind of the thrill, really. So I'm really looking forward to that, and getting to places again. And this is kind of the remit, the way we're thinking moving forward, is to get to places I've never played to before. So I'm really, really excited to be coming to all the different towns and enjoying that. So that's going to be really, really good. I've also got this is an announcement, a little announcement for you all. But I've also... Oh, hello. Do we want to see dogs on here? Is dogs a good idea? Come on, who's this? Come here. Can we do dogs on Instagram Live? Oh, here we go. So, this is Cookie, everyone. And this is Hugo, which you probably can't see with my black t-shirt. Now, Cookie is honestly the cleverest, smartest, most beautiful dog ever. And Hugo, bless him, he's the comedy dog. In fact, only the other day we were walking through the park and some little kid said to his mum, "Mum, look at that cat." Oh. Exactly. I mean, he can hear, the poor devil, can't you, mate? And he is so placid, he really is. We never really liked small dogs, but Sharon Osbourne's the reason we got this fella, because she just used to pass her dog round the restaurants we used to sit in, and they were like little teddy bears. And so on our wedding anniversary about 3 years ago, Dawn just went off and she found him and brought him home, and he is gorgeous, but he's a bloody pain, I'm telling you. Right, you've been on TV now. Do you want to have a closer look, everyone? Here he is. Mr. Hugo. Right, I'm kicking you out now, because otherwise you're going to be moaning. Right, go on, clear off. There you go. anything could happen, by the way. The house is full of kids tonight because they've all broke up today. So, what else were we talking about? So, we have, a little announcement. Next, I think April, I've done, or I'm doing at the moment, a series of 10 one-hour shows for BBC Radio 2. It's a new series called We Write the Songs. It's presented by me. And every week I interview a fabulous, legendary, brilliant songwriter. We cover different topics each week. Some weeks it's about melody, some weeks it's about working as a team, working as a band, working as a duo, working as a solo artist, just doing lyrics, writing musicals. We have some amazing guests, which I'm not going to tease, but I'm talking like, if that's the bar, that's where they are. They are all the best people in this field, and of course for me, I don't really have to try too hard to interview them well, because I'm fascinated by them, and the times I've been with them in the past, I've been desperate to ask them these questions, but of course I wasn't able to. But this show has given me a good reason to be able to do that. So we're going to run 5 of these shows, which will be called the first series of them in April around the tour, and then I believe we're going to run the other 5 towards the end of the year. But that's an exciting new thing for me. It's quite educational. It's the reason I wanted to do a show like this was because when I was sort of 15, 16 and desperately trying to learn how to make music, how to be a better producer and a songwriter, I used to sit with my earphones on, lying in bed, just desperately listening for little clues of how they got sounds and how they get, and this is what, if I was 15 again, this is the sort of show that it would have helped me so much to listen to something like this. So that's the idea behind it, to get tips and great bits of anecdotes, and there's some really good shows. We've recorded about 4 of them already, and we'll do the other 6 throughout the year. So I'm very excited to that, and I hope you all tune in and enjoy that. So let's go back to next year, 2018. We have as a band, we have a greatest hits at the end of the year. Greatest hits, they don't excite me whatsoever. I always think that bands release them at the end of their careers, and of course we don't feel like that at all. So we're going to do something a little bit interesting with our back catalogue. We're not going to deface it, but we're gonna creatively have a look at it, freshen it up, and we're excited about sort of filling the last 2 months of the year with a couple of new songs on this record, and looking again at the catalogue and giving it a little bit of a refresher to then take it on tour in the following year. So that'll be really, really an interesting thing. And then the last thing I'm going to leave you with is I should talk about the book. We haven't talked about this properly yet, and I guess without going, I don't want to get too deep into it, but the book's 2 things really, and I am still writing it at the moment. But the book for me is 2 things. I think if you're just someone who's got a bit of an interest in me and you fancy a little read and try and get a little bit more under the bonnet, I think it's an autobiography. It could simply be just looked at as an autobiography, an updated one. But I think there's another important message that I'm trying to play with in it, and that's the whole food issue for me. If I remember back in May 2003, I rolled out of bed. I remember looking at the scales. I was about 17. I was just over 17 stone at that point. I was terrifically unhappy. I didn't have any career at the time, really. I was eating too much. I was drinking too much. I was at a bit of a lost end, really. I was getting really good at going out for Chineses and coming home and making myself sick. I mean, I was getting to the point where this could have been a really big issue for me. And when I think about it now, if I could have reached across and read this book I'm about to write, it could have saved me a lot of pain and heartache, because it's taken me really years to undo that state I was in. A lot of diet books. And for anyone who's struggled with weight, I think diets just don't work. I think there's very few people they truly work for. And I think the really sad thing when I've been recounting this bit of time is that I was on a diet for about 9 years. That's an awful long time, and the diets I was doing, they weren't healthy diets. They were like these fat-free diets, and I think anyone who's been on a fat-free diet will know that they're miserable. They're absolutely miserable things to be on. You're hungry. You're basically going insane, really. You're going mad. You're going crazy. It's a really... Dieting in that way is very, very tough. And so what I want to recall is when I eventually found my groove, which was about 6 years ago, and found a way of eating for me, because that's the thing, we're all different. And, you know, if somebody brought a T-shirt out in a size medium and tried to sell it to everyone, it obviously wouldn't work for anyone. So a lot of these diets, they're so broad, that which is why they don't work. And so I eventually found the way of eating for me that worked, and I'm not going to confess that I've got control of this thing, because there's definitely still times where I haven't. But I'm definitely on it's more balanced. My life is more balanced, and I just want to share. And I'm aware also, by the way, that there's people who aren't interested in this. But you know, I only have to look down my Twitter feed, and I think 1 in 3 messages for me are, I'm in a bad place, I want to lose weight, I don't know how to. And one of the things that shocked me when I realised that I was at the foot of this enormous mountain was that I didn't know anything about food. I really didn't. And we are in an age now of information. The information is all around us everywhere. And people try and make it confusing for us. You know, we read all these things where 1 week sit-ups is amazing for you. The next week, don't do sit-ups, it's so bad for you. It's like, they're all confusing us, but there's great people out there. There's great people on Instagram, on YouTube. There's amazing people. And so that's what I want to base a bit of my book about. So if you're someone out there who wants to have a change of life, or if is even just interested in just going, I'll try this for a few weeks, then this book will definitely help with that. And so I'm going to sign out now by saying that there's a little project I've been working on the last couple of weeks, and it is linked to the book. New Year is going to arrive. And I am going to start Barlow's boot camp, because I have from the new year till April to get myself into ship shape to come on a stage in front of you guys. And I'm going to catalogue it, and I've got some of my friends who are often expert cooks, and they've got cookbooks, and they do yoga, and they do fitness on Instagram, and I've basically rallied everyone up, and I've done a series of these pieces which I'm just going to drop onto all my socials. And so you don't have to go out and buy DVDs and all this stuff. It's all free, it's up there, and if you're interested, it's really fun, some of it is. And I've had real fun doing it, and it's possibly, you know, something I'll keep up over time, because I think it's quite interesting. And like I say, you know, I certainly am not an expert in health and fitness, but it is my hobby. I'm fascinated by it, and I come from it from this point that, you know, it's not that I want to live till I'm 150. You know, I'm someone who's when you come to watch me live or you switch the telly on, I don't want to be the 70% version of myself. I want to be the 110% version, to be stood there and feel confident. And that's why I do it, and I love it, and it's a hobby I don't talk about a lot, and so I'm going to start sharing it on here. But Barlow's Bootcamp's going to start. I'm not going to be telling you what to do, because that's not the message. It's not me going, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's me showing you what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing, and if you can take something from that, or a little piece from that, and use it to your advantage, and then that's brilliant. But I think that concludes us. So look out early in the new year for that. I'm going to wish you all a absolutely fabulous Christmas and a happy new year and all the rest of it. I think that's all. It's been quite nice, hasn't it, this? Just sat talking. Maybe we'll schedule another one around Barlow's Bootcamp in the new year. But for now, I'm going to hit the end button, and I'm going to say good night to you all, and thank you for tuning in. See you next year. Bye for now.